So one of the worst things that can happen when you're in the middle of a launch is if you get a negative review that really derails your launch efforts. So in this video, we're going to basically review some strategies and approaches and mindsets that you can leverage to implement review damage control. So in summary, we're going to outline what you should do during a launch if you have a negative review on your listing. Core point number one, whether it's a legitimate review that's been negative from an actual customer, or it's some kind of a competitor attack, or a broader issue with your product, negative reviews can obviously derail your launch efforts. This is actually a true story. The first ever product I launched on Amazon, you can kind of imagine, we've all been there. You get the butterflies in your stomach, you launch it. I was starting to rank really well. And guess what the first review was on my first ever product on Amazon? It was a 1-star, unverified competitor attack review. And it basically totally derailed my launch. I had a 1-star average, and it took weeks to kind of get it back to where I could actually put a concerted effort into the launch. This stuff can happen. This is Amazon. It's unpredictable, whether again it's legitimate or not. You can get reviews that totally change your average review count and can plummet your conversion rate and performance in the middle of a launch. Core point number two is that it's not the end of the world. You can literally get through anything in the Amazon game. You can't control what happens to you or your business, but you can control your emotional state and how you react to it. Just remember, while it feels sometimes like it is the end of the world, it's not. And we can get through having bad reviews during a launch. So the most important thing with all this is just to focus on what you can control. You can't control the review average that's on your listing. You can't always control that a bad review happened. It is what it is. What you need to control is how do you assess it and what strategies do you deploy to counter it to get things back on track. First, I think it's important to take a step back and actually assess the situation, right? Look at the actual review, read the review. What does it say? Is it legitimate? Is it telling you anything about your product and how it's presented? If so, can you edit your listing? Can you make some adjustments there? But be honest and thoughtful about reviewing the actual review itself. Also check your CX score. Are you seeing abnormal return rates or other issues that may not have been left in a negative review, but you've got commentary in the CX score you can look at? We covered this in the operations and management module in terms of how you can assess that stuff. But you should really kind of think, is your product a problem? Especially if you've had a snowball of bad reviews and it doesn't seem like it's a competitor attack. What may be happening is that there's something off with your product. And this has happened to me too, where we had an awesome product we thought we launched, it had a lot of success, and then we started to have these 1-star issues come in. And frankly, it was an oversight on our part about the user experience of actually using the product initially. So that was on us, and we had to kind of take that one on the chin and own it. The next thing is just to really implement strategies outlined in the management module around reviews. If you have not already, you want to be deploying all of those things to generate additional review volume, because the only real way to counteract a negative review average is to get positive reviews coming in and review volume coming in to dilute that negative review. So make sure you're referencing that module, and if you don't have all those elements in place, now's the time to take a step back and implement those into your business. Equally important is to implement the negative review strategies outlined in the management module as well. We talk about some strategies, legal, terms of service, compliance strategies that you can do and implement to actually either have reviews removed or overcome negative reviews. So take a look at that. That's probably your first line of defense in concert with those other positive review generating strategies and review rate strategies that we cover in that module. And then here's really just 3 things that I would say underpin our tactical approach in terms of what we do next. First of all, I would absolutely deploy Vine. This is assuming that you have product quality that you don't suspect is an issue. Vine, you've got to have high quality products to get good reviews, but if you've not implemented this yet, that's one of the surefire ways, quick ways to generate reviews onto your listing. The second thing is to shut off or minimize pay-per-click. If you're starting to get negative conversion rates and really poor performance, those will have a dramatic negative impact on your organic results. It's best to step off of pay-per-click either entirely or dramatically reduce it only to the words that are converting if you start to see poor mathematical performance on your pay-per-click. This is a time to hit pause, go back and maybe roll your sleeves up and leverage some of those other launch traffic strategies if you've not deployed them already, or double down on the ones that you have deployed. Put your energy to what you can control. You can't control that you've got a 2-star, 3-star, 3.5-star rating on your launch product. What you can control is diverting your attention and energy to things that you can actually deploy and improve your business with. And then the third thing, and this is again big caveat in terms of your own personal risk tolerance, because this is going to be against terms of service. But if you've deployed some super friendlies, as discussed in this process, and it's beyond 2 weeks, we definitely want to see reviews at least take place beyond the 2-week mark from when they actually ordered. You may want to follow up them and be like, hey, if you got a minute today, I'd love to get some feedback on the product if you don't mind dropping a review. Again, if you've incentivized that super friendly, this is going to be against terms of service. If you're cultivating super friendlies in the way that we describe, there's probably a minimal risk of this. But just do know that this is against terms of service. But one thing, if you're comfortable with it, is to actually nudge those super friendlies and ask if they'd be open to giving feedback on your actual product. So that's review damage control.